Pro here at AdTheorent. We're a privacy-forward DSP that helps advertisers and brands and agencies drive real-world outcomes. And I have the privilege to be joined today with Linda Bethea, who is the head of marketing for Danone. So Linda, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your responsibilities.
Great, thanks, Phil. So as you mentioned, I'm the head of marketing at Danone North America. So I manage our portfolio of over 30 brands in the yogurt space. I was not here in 1919 when we launched our first yogurt, but we have a great portfolio of yogurt brands, dairy brands, plant-based brands. So really excited to be here to talk to you today.
Awesome. It's great. It's been a great event so far, and we've got a great conversation lined up. So let's start with a little bit about, just marketing, and then we'll move into some leadership topics. So
sure.
Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion around the disruption and the changes that took place in 2020, specifically around advertising and digital marketing. What strategies did you deploy last year that you were forced to, and how did that kind of change your marketing strategy as you moved into this year? And then a follow-on is, are there any things that you tried or that you were forced to try that you're going to keep and stick around, silver linings in all this?
Yeah, I think if 2020 taught us anything, it's how to pivot and be agile with your marketing strategies. We were constantly having to revisit what we were doing in the marketplace. I think, we had a huge impact, first and foremost, on our media strategy. As we saw during the pandemic, more and more consumers were consuming digital and mobile media. Some of the stats that I saw in terms of the amount of hours consumed per week were staggering. So we took a look at our media mix because obviously we want to be where the consumers are and where they're consuming media. And we did shift a significant amount of our mix to digital and social media. And I think that's a trend that we're going to continue to see. Obviously, linear TV continues to be important to us for reach, but we're starting to get much more into the digital social space across our brand portfolio. But I think one of the most interesting things we saw throughout the pandemic as people were consuming more media, that means they're being bombarded with more messages, right? They're seeing more and more news, information, ads on a daily basis. And they were also at a point in their lives where they were becoming stressed and overwhelmed more so than ever before. And that has an impact on your brain and how you process information. And so as marketers, it was fascinating to really study the consumer impact and what it was doing to their attention span. And so it became much harder to attract their attention and maintain their attention. And so going back to kind of the buzzword of 10 years ago, where content is king or queen in my case, I think that often gets lost in the media mix conversation because it's not just about advertising and putting your media where consumers are, but putting really compelling content in front of them that will truly break through and grab their attention as they're, multitasking on multiple screens and being bombarded with all of those messages. So I think, it's critical for us that we're leveraging consumer insights to tell really authentic brand stories that connect with people, grab their attention, and drive that engagement.
Fascinating. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of kind of doing some of these virtual firesides, and there's been such a shift underway, and I've had the opportunity for some folks to talk a little bit about some of the things that they always wanted to try but couldn't, and things that some things obviously didn't work the way that they wanted them to, and in a lot of cases that people were pleasantly surprised due to the new kind of world that we were living in. Is there any one particular thing that you were just really surprised that worked better than others as you tried to get this new authentic message out in this new kind of environment?
Yeah, one of the things we had been talking about at Danone was building an in-house agency to manage content in a more nimble fashion. And when we went on lockdown and could no longer go out in the world and do big ad shoots, that became a reality. And that was, something that really forced us to think about how to do it the right way, how to be scrappy, how to turn around content in less than 72 hours from brief to execution. How do you marshal the resources to do that? How do you navigate complex stakeholders internally to get all the right approvals? And then how do you get that content out into the world? So, that's something that we learned a lot throughout the process, and we're currently building out an even bigger internal team to manage content going forward.
Amazing. That's awesome. So there's obviously a lot of changes on the horizon, specifically in the digital world. What steps, if any, are you and your teams taking to adapt to a world where cookies will not be as part of our ecosystem?
The Cookieless Future. It's like the new horror movie title, right? The Cookieless Future. Yeah, I mean, we're taking several steps to address that. We did evaluate a number of technology partners over the past year and ultimately have partnered with LiveRamp. Really bullish about their identity resolution tool, which will help us build more addressable audiences going forward. So looking for that to be a long-term partnership that helps us in this space. We've conducted several test and learns with different, partners, really looking at how we can match and target consumers using other IDs. So continuing to really, test and learn and figure out what makes sense for us in this space going forward.
Yeah. Is there anything specific maybe in the mobile area that you could speak to compared to?
No, I mean, again, for us at this point, it's really about testing and learning to see what makes sense for our audiences. We do have a huge portfolio of brands and target, a number of different people across a number of different audiences. So I don't think it's going to be a one size fits all solution.
That's for sure. That's for sure. That's great. All right, so let's switch gears and let's talk, a little bit about, from a business to business perspective, let's talk a little bit about business for good. So Danone is one of the largest B Corps in the world. You're a brand with a purpose. And at the heart of, and really at the heart of the Danone brand. What advice can you give other brands that are joining us today to use your business as a force for good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super proud to work for Danone, which is one of the largest B Corps in the world. It's one of the reasons I came to work here, to build brands with purpose. And I think, that has become such a buzzword in the industry right now. Everyone's talking about building brands with purpose. But for us, it's so much more than that. It's our mission. It's inherent in everything we do. And I think a lot of people don't know what a B Corp is. So essentially it means that you are using business as a force for good. You're balancing your financial interests with the impact, the positive impact that you want to have on the world. And so for us at Danone, our corporate mission is one planet, one health. We believe that the health of our people and our planet are inextricably linked. And so our corporation is really set out on a mission to improve the health of the people and the planet at the same time. And what that looks like from a brand standpoint is building brands with individual brand purposes that ladder up to that. So it's all about doing that in an authentic way that makes sense for the individual brand. So we have something we call the manifesto brand model at Danone, which is all about how we build brands with purpose. And each one has that authentic, unique way, distinct way that they're going to do that. So I'll just give you an example. Our Too Good yogurt brand really believes that we can do more with less. And by reducing food waste and food insecurity, we can make the world a better place. And so that's truly the brand purpose for the Too Good yogurt brand, and it comes to life in everything we do across our innovation, our communications, the way we show up in the world. So for example, we just launched a great new innovation. If you like pumpkin, I know everybody's a little pumpkined out right now, but we just launched a great new pumpkin flavored Too Good yogurt as part of our Good Save program, which is all about rescuing fruit and vegetables that would otherwise end up in landfills. So there's a staggering statistic that every Halloween, over 1 billion pumpkins end up in landfills. And I'm not sure a lot of people know this, but in addition to all the things you would associate being bad with food waste, it's actually the biggest contributor to climate change. All of the methane gas and the emissions associated with that have a huge negative impact on our planet. So we actually use rescued pumpkins to produce our new pumpkin yogurt so that we're saving that food and preventing that food waste going forward. From a marketing standpoint, we also have programs that we're partnering with different food organizations to redistribute food that would otherwise be wasted to people with food insecurity. So again, really putting our money where our mouth is as a brand and giving back to have a positive impact on people and planet.
And does that start with you, with senior leadership, from employees? Maybe just a little bit about how you got this started, some advice for companies that maybe are thinking about doing this in a bigger way.
Yeah, so for us, Too Good was a brand that we launched a few years ago. And whether it's a brand that existed in the portfolio or a new brand that we're launching, we partner with everyone on our cross-functional team to build out this manifesto brand model and truly identify what we believe the role of that brand is in our One Planet, One Health mission. And again, each brand has an individual role to play as it builds its unique place in the world. And so it's a multi-day workshop that we go through, really understanding who the consumer target is, what they care about, both from a sustainability standpoint as well as a health standpoint, to truly leverage insights to build a brand that's authentic, is going to speak to what their needs and interests are and can make a true difference in the world. And I think for us, that's where we set ourselves apart. We're not just saying purpose as a buzzword. We're not just going out there and making statements about what we believe. We're actually taking action. Again, through our innovation, through our communications, we're putting our money where our mouth is and making true positive impact in the world. And we do believe that that's using business as a force for good. We're doing good for the world, but we're also driving growth because we know that consumers today want brands that are authentic and transparent and are taking action. That's what today's consumers care about. And so it's not just doing good for the world, but it's also doing good for our business because it's driving growth.
Fantastic. Awesome. Great advice. Thank you. Hey, in a few minutes, we're going to take some questions. So as questions, as they come up or as you develop them, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll get to them here in just a couple of minutes. So Linda, 2020, 21 significantly changed business landscape as we know it. It's great to see so many businesses getting more involved with corporate responsibility, the way people work, where they work, how we recruit, all these things. The last panel talked a little bit about that as well. What do you think the future of work looks like? How do we plan? How are you guys planning on recruiting and retention? What does the future look like at Danone?
Yeah, I mean, I talked earlier about how the pandemic's made us more flexible and agile from a business standpoint. I think it's also made us that way from a work standpoint and a leadership standpoint as well. I do think there will be a lasting change in how we work. I think we're going to need to institutionalize flexibility. I think we've proven that we can work remotely, we can work flexibly, we can work in an agile way. And for me as a leader, I think it's, I don't care about where or when you work. I don't care if you show up to the office at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. I don't care if you're working from home, from your backyard, from your daughter's soccer field. I'm the mom of an 11-year-old gymnast, and my team knows that 3 days a week, I'm doing video calls from her gymnastics gym, which is great because I get to spend that time with her, but also get the work done. And I think as a leader, what's important for me is understanding what matters to each of my team members, right? Flexibility is going to look different for everyone based on their situation. And I think, again, my job as a leader is to set the right strategy and vision and then give them the tools they need to be successful, whether that's flexibility, the ability to work from home, the ability to come to the office as they need to, understanding what that is and what's going to make them successful is my job. I think if you put people first, the results will follow. You have to trust people to get the job done, and really treat them as human beings. I think that's been one of the silver linings of this pandemic is I feel like I've gotten to know my team on a such deeper level. I've seen where they live and work. I've met their kids. I've met their dogs and cats and lizards or whatever it may be. And I think it's forged such deeper connections and built even greater trust among the team that we are truly all in this together and working towards a common goal. And that makes people want to work harder and deliver even greater results.
Yeah. I mean, here at AdTheorent, very similar, right? I mean, prior to, there was probably doubts in everybody's mind that you could rally an entire organization in such a way, but people have stepped up and we've proven that. And in many cases, they're more effective than they ever have been in this environment.
Yeah. Although I will say, we do talk about this a lot internally. We've proven we can run a business remotely. I think the jury's still out on whether or not we can build culture remotely. And so that's been the focus of our conversations lately is, we haven't gone back to the office yet here at Danone, still TBD on when that happens. So in the meantime, how do we continue to build the strong culture that we're known for, leveraging our purpose, our B Corpness, and really building that strong team culture.
That's an excellent point. And I think a lot of folks are struggling with that. onboarding in a big way remotely has been a difficult task for a lot of companies as well. So yeah, the conversation will continue in this particular area. All right, so another quick question for you here. So the other topic that has been top of every business leader's mind has been diversity inclusion. And I'm curious, from your perspective, how you're handling this and your thoughts on how companies should handle it moving forward and do it the right way.
Yeah, it's a great question. So here at Danone, diversity and inclusion is absolutely critically important to us, both in terms of internally how we recruit, retain, and promote our employees, but also as the head of marketing, it's critically important to me in how we're reaching our consumers. And I think a lot of people think of multicultural marketing as something they should do or an add-on. And here at Danone, we firmly believe that multicultural marketing is marketing. If you look at the makeup of our US consumer base, 40% of US consumers are multicultural. And over the next decade or so, the majority of consumers in the US will be non-white. And so it is a business imperative that we're reaching the consumer base in the US. So I actually spearhead our Multicultural Marketing Council internally here at Danone, which is really focused on infusing diversity of thought and representation across all of our marketing activities. And that's everything from supplier diversity, so making sure that the agencies and vendors that we work with represent a diverse perspective. The people in those places that work on the teams that work on our brands represent a diverse perspective. We always triple bid anything we do and ensure that there's at least one diverse person in the bidding process. We audit our communications on a regular basis to make sure that we're telling a diverse set of stories. We're casting a diverse set of characters. And I think it has to go beyond that, and it has to start with consumer insights. We've actually partnered with the Collage Group to get a better handle on multicultural insights and how our brands can leverage them in an authentic way. We really want to understand, where our brands should be talking to multicultural consumers and how they should be doing so in the right way, telling the right stories, leveraging the right insights, and driving that cultural relevance, because I think that's going to be absolutely key to success. It has to be authentic and it has to be culturally relevant. And so that's one of the things we're working on right now.
Fantastic. It's great. It's the best example that I've seen so far. Fantastic work. Thank you. Are there any questions here, Pete and team, from the audience that we could potentially field?
I have a bunch if we want to wait for them to jump in, but there's so much you guys are doing for good that obviously is driving growth, right? Do you have a responsible media investment strategy coming out of our pandemic? Like, how are you thinking about partnering with? There's a lot of people on the call who are marketers, but also on the sell side. How do you identify a partner that you feel comfortable, obviously rubbing up against, but also giving money towards?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? And it goes back to putting our money where our mouth is and using that as a force for good. So I'll give one example in the multicultural space. We recently announced that we're committing to investing 2% of our media budget in Black-owned media companies. Again, it absolutely aligns with our values and what we're trying to do as an organization and through our brands. And so that, I think, is a perfect example of something we're doing in that space.
Yeah, I think on our side of the table, ViacomCBS, we have BET, but we also have, we've instituted KPIs to hit. We can't grab attention if we don't reflect it the right way. So talent in front of the camera, talent behind the camera, the writer's room, everything has to be so authentic, especially when you think about Nickelodeon through Awesomeness Television to, the first half of MTV. Those 18-year-olds and under have already tipped multicultural majority, right? So your yogurt for kids is already a majority multicultural.
Yeah.
So I guess you got Black owned, but you also have media companies that are really starting to heavily reflect the audiences to, again, because you can't tell stories that don't sit right or don't fit because they'll just get rejected at the same time.
Yeah, and that goes back to multicultural marketing is marketing. To your point, the younger generation is already there. And so as we think through our innovation strategy, our communication strategy, our partnership strategy, our media strategy, it has to reflect that diversity of that audience.
Yeah, and on the flip side, you guys do have a great purpose, and you are allocating funds, right, to support growth in those communities. The question is, like, how do you get credit for it without actually asking for credit for it? Like, how does a consumer who's looking for brand purpose find your purpose and then support it without you bragging about it? Because that wouldn't be authentic either, right? It's
Yeah,
a
and
fine
I think,
line.
yeah, and I don't think we're looking for credit for it at, the corporate level. Again, we believe that it's the right thing to do and that it will also drive growth. But I think through an individual brand lens, each of our brands has their individual purpose that, again, ladders up to our overall One Planet, One Health. Another example I'll give is Horizon Organic Milk. They made a recent announcement that they intend to be carbon positive by 2025. And we're listing out all the steps we're taking to get there. And that is something based on our insights that we know matters to consumers. So we're going to start to tell that story through our communication and hopefully reach that group of consumers that cares about, buying dairy that is having a positive impact on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything we do now. It's just it has to have the lightest footprint. Everyone's paying attention. Most people are paying attention. And I think, speaking of paying attention, you nailed it before, like reassessing the consumer behaviors and insights, because before the pandemic started, we were all going one way. And as we come out of it, it's definitely not that same. We're all tweaked a little off north right now. So, if you don't know what their problems are, how do you solve it? Yep. Right. And when did you actually realize, like, okay, we got to get out there and realize how to reconnect with these people, because they're not living the same way they used to.
Yeah, I mean, very early on, we realized that the pandemic was going to have immediate and lasting changes on consumer sentiment and behavior. So we actually commissioned a custom study of Danone users, and we were doing monthly pulse checks with them throughout the entire pandemic to see how their sentiment and behavior was changing. From there, we were able to quickly pivot during the pandemic with our marketing messages, our innovation strategy, our media strategy. And then coming out of that, we were able to identify what we thought the lasting changes would be that could inform the future strategy. So again, for me, it's all about consumer centricity and leveraging insights every step of the way to impact what we do.
Yeah, and then you have to execute that, which then your agency comes into the play. And the agency world has been flipped upside down also, because that kind of fun, that culture has always been very exciting. It's tough work, it's long work, but the perks of, going out, enjoying life, having great friends, the fashion around it, like that's all kind of dried up for now. Everyone's work, that's very transactional now. And how do you feel they're doing on their end as far as mental health, the pace of work, expectations in an always on world?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky to have a fabulous agency partner. Lightning Orchard does a lot of our big campaigns, and I am talking to them daily, and I think we're all in this together. They proved to be a great partner with us early on when we had to pivot one of our key brand strategies and communication strategies, and they were able to put some work out into the world very quickly with that pivot. And so it's all about communication, right? I talked earlier about really seeing people as human beings first and understanding how they're feeling. To your point, what's their mental health? How are they stressed? Are they overwhelmed? And really just connecting at that level and working together to achieve a common goal.
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, from the sales side, being in the machine of how it all gets to your screen or your phone, there's so many people involved, and they're really, I mean, everybody's just burning the candle at both ends. We're trying to hold on to what we have so that our clients who are uncertain feel more comfortable. We're trying to get things up. Like you said before, we have to tweak in real time based on messaging. You can't be going places in your commercial if everyone's on lockdown. So, how do you change your outreach? So we've done a lot of juggling. I think to your point, we've survived. We've shown we've showed up to adversity as an industry. I mean, we've done it. We did it all in real time back in March 2020. And I had to go back to work. I need to open the elevator for somebody else. I got to say hi. I got to be around folks, but we could be just fine here too. I think we're seeing that.
Yeah. I think we've all learned a lot, some positives, some negatives, but we figured out how to make it work. And I think there's a lot of good that's come out of it.
And are you in Pelham?
I am.
Yeah, I'm in Larchmont.
Oh, right next door.
So I think if I squint my eyes tight enough, I think I might be able to see you. How'd you guys
I'm in
do
the city this week, so you can't see me quite yet. But
it looks like Bill's in the city. It looks like Bill's in the city right now.
Yeah, I'm downtown. Yep.
I was in the city the other day. It felt good. It was a beautiful day, beautiful fall day.
Yeah.
There was some energy. The office felt like a Sunday. Just it was like a Sunday at the office a little bit.
It's a good way.
But-
It's coming back. It's coming back.
Getting
Yeah.
back to normal.
I mean, don't sleep on Manhattan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then about your daughter, your 11-year-old daughter, how's she been? I mean, have you seen her hold on to the screens more? How do you balance that out with the fact?
Yeah, I
that
mean,
we're-
she's at that age. She just got her first phone. So there's a lot of rules that go along with that. But lucky for me, she's a competitive gymnast and she's in the gym training 12 hours a week. So it doesn't leave a lot of free time for screens.
I wish I did that. My kid's snack drawer has been my savior for 7 quarters. I've been eating a lot of extra snack, a lot of salty goods, a lot of savories.
You should replace that with some healthy yogurt.
I should do that, but we'll have to see. Well, we're going back to the office soon, so I got to figure out how to. I can't be wearing sweatpants in January to work. So, but this whole day has gone by extremely fast. We appreciate all your insights, guys. Linda, we wish you the best of luck as you come back to work and build back the culture. And Bill, you're down there in Manhattan, so stay safe, be excited.
Yeah.
Where are you? Where are you downtown?
Hudson Street, Hudson and Barron, downtown. Yep.
Over by Horizon, right?
Right. Yeah.
I also had to. All my bearings are gone too. You feel to pick a place off in Manhattan whenever you say something, and now I gotta think about it.
Got to break out a map. Yeah.
All right, so this has been great, guys. We have a panel coming on. We're going to end the day with 2 panels. You have my magenta behind me. I came in a little early, but someone from T-Mobile is joining us.
Awesome.
Let's get the introductions out there. Linda, thanks again. We'll see you,
Thank
Bill.
you.
Hi, everybody. Michael,
Hey there.
good to see
How
you.
you doing? Nice
We're
to
doing
see you
all
as
right.
well.
I've been doing this since 10 in the morning, so I'm here still. Okay.
That's great. It's good to see you, and you got great energy.
I'm trying to keep this thing flowing. It's hard not to because there's so many good people coming on. You know, we're a people industry, and I've been in my house all by myself for so long. It's just so good to see a rolling human factor coming through my house. So, hi everybody.
How we doing? Pete, I came on a few minutes early and I was like getting on LinkedIn, like, who's my coworker Pete Shalala here with the magenta behind me? Then I really, it's the Viacom team always playing for us.
Listen, but we are a fan of the magenta. Really, you guys are doing real. You can't escape. By the way, let me just take off my check this out real quick. Let me go to no filter. I actually kind of live in it.